All right, everybody. I've got another very special guest for y'all. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Dani Sancasie. Welcome, Dani.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Beautiful background you have, by the way.
Thank you. It's a work in progress, but it's always gonna be a work in progress. So
Oh no, I love it. I see Emma Hogan back there and some Jimmy Hogan back there. Very nice.
yeah. So I was really happy when you reached out. I started googling pretty hard on you and everything, and I just was impressed with everything you're doing. So I
Thank
really
you.
am I'm interested to talk to you about a few different things. But I got to start you in the beginning. Where does kind of your nerdum come from? Where does your fan of comics come from? And I don't know where to start your journey, but I guess where do you
Well,
get to the
I
point
was
where you
born.
wanted to create comics?
Well, both of my parents were nerds. I mean, they've been divorced pretty much my whole life since I was 9 months old, but I was born disabled, severely disabled, to a point where many of my disabilities, I have several, don't have names. So I pretty much did grow up in Shriners Hospital for Children. And I'm so old that when I grew up there, it was called Shriners Hospital for Crippled Children. And back
Jeez.
then, back then, like my dad was a Star Trek nerd, my mom was a Star Wars nerd. Both of them were really big into reading. I was very big into reading, and of course, back then there wasn't really any real common internet. Um, so I like to read. I like Star Wars and Star Trek, and there was a local comic book store. I wish I knew which one, but a local comic book store in St. Louis that would come weekly and donate comic books to Shriners Hospital, to our recreational therapy department, as it were. And I would go down, I'd wheel down in my chair on Thursdays and grab a stack of comics. And specifically, I remember one was a Batman comic that featured Huntress. That was the first one I really remember getting into. She was so cool. She didn't have any superpowers. She had smarts, she had athleticism, she had a very traumatic life, but she used that to help other people. She pushed past that pain to live her life and, you know, do what she wanted and help other people. And I also remember grabbing Wonder Woman comics, a woman who could fly, very beautiful, didn't sacrifice her femininity and sensuality for power and strength, and still, helping people. Those really stuck with me. Um, and I was just a really, really big reader. I would use those stories to escape what I was dealing with and experiencing. I tell people a lot that, think Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, where he's being taken apart and put back together again. That was me as a small child sharing a room with three other kids going through the same thing. Very painful. Doctors didn't know what to do with me, so they tried. They tried all these different things. They experimented to see what they could do to help me. Um, Not all of it worked, but they tried. I'm not mad at them for things that didn't work, for the pain that I had to suffer. Is not their fault. They tried, but it was painful. It was traumatic. But comic books were there. Comic books were there. Star Trek was there. Star Wars was there. And it was something that, you know, wow, I'm living in this fantasy world and these comic books. I kind of started creating my own stories in my head. Like it would start with, I think, with everyone, you create your own daydreams or fantasies or fan fictions in those worlds, like with Batman or Huntress or Wonder Woman, what have you. And then slowly I started creating my own characters. Like I think one was uh I don't think I've ever told anyone this. It's weird. Uh in French though, her name was the Golden Goddess, but it was like Dor Dise, like Dora Dise, Dise, Dora Dise. I'm not saying it right. But I took French in class because I was told my family was French growing up. Turns out we were not. We were Mexican, but that's a whole other conversation.
I did the same thing.
So,
I took German growing up because my family was from Germany.
yeah, yeah. That was completely lost though because we're Mexican. I should have taken Spanish. Mm. So I wrote these stories. But then in the 90s, X-Men the animated series came out. I started discovering X-Men comics. I absolutely love and adore Chris Claremont. He, I believe, is one of the greatest comic writers in the world. His stories are amazing and thought-provoking, and they really stick with you. They don't talk down to the readers. And I felt like a lot of they used a lot of those storylines for X-Men the animated series, and this is something I tend to belabor, but I don't care because it's such a good point. But animated series cartoons that were made for kids, they talk down to kids. They made them trite and campy, corny. They talk down to kids. But X-Men, the animated series, Larry Houston, who I got the privilege to meet at MegaCon, he didn't talk down to kids. He used those stories. They were still thought provoking. They were real. And he used these beautiful, beautiful storylines to reach out to kids and keep us engrossed and interested. My little brother, my late little brother, and I would watch these every single Saturday. Like we couldn't get up fast enough. Grabbed our, toaster strudel, Pop Tarts, whatever, and just run to push our parents out of the way. Like, go take your stupid newspaper and go in the other room. We're watching this. This is important stuff you don't understand. This is important stuff. And my little brother, who was such an important part of my life, he loved it so much. He loved X-Men so much. I loved X-Men so much. We bonded over it so much that I would create stacks of characters for him. And I didn't exactly know how to make comic books, but I would make all these character sheets and tell him stories. I created at like 11 years old, 11, 12 years old, like 150 character sheets. They were all women because I was a girl, like of basically an all women X-Men team. It was a total ripoff of X-Men. Okay. I was 11. Um, I can't even
That's
remember
okay.
what I called the team.
Some people made a career in this industry doing that.
Oh,
Liefeld.
ain't that the truth?
Uh,
Oh, God. Oh, Fabian DCS might agree with you, but he won't say it out loud. Um, but I made all these characters, and some of them, like one of them was this. Listen, and I was doing something. I was way ahead of my time. they were they were characters from all over the world, and I would go and get the encyclopedia, and I would look up different cultures and stories, and I would create characters based off of those things. I was very lucky because when I grew up in Shriners, I had roommates from different parts of the country and different parts of the globe. So I had a very multicultural background in a sense, growing up. So one of my characters I thought was really fascinating. She was a Korean girl, inspired by one of my Korean sisters, Moon. She was a Korean girl and she had powers of like shadows. She could manipulate shadows, she could make them physical and she could move through them, but she was very angry. I did this for my brother, created all these characters, and I remember my stepmother telling me I should stop playing around, but I could use this to be like a fashion designer or work in advertising. And I was like, what a stupid thing you just said. Like, why don't you get this?
oh,
What's wrong with you?
well, Danny, it's not a very girly thing for you to be doing, right?
No, it wasn't girly. Like, she didn't get it at all. She was annoyed with me. And I would listen to her have these conversations with my dad, like, oh, she's really good at drawing this stuff. She could use this for a career. Like, she could be a fashion designer or work in advertising, like something real. Like, she was kind of mean about it. Um, but that's how it started. And when I was 24, I was married. I'd had 3 kids. And I had this idea in my head. I've always been obsessed with vampires. I'm a huge Anne Rice fan. Obviously, I'm a huge Buffy fan. Any idiot can look at my comic or read a line from my comic and think, well, there's definitely, some Buffy inspo here.
Mhm.
Anyone who has any kind of vampire hunter or slayer, character has some Buffy in there. I mean, they're lying to you if they say no. Joss Whedon was a huge inspiration for a lot of people. So I'm a huge fan of Buffy, Anne Rice, Christopher Pike. If you don't know who Christopher Pike is, he wrote these books in the 90s called The Last Vampire. I devoured every single one of those books when I was a kid. I would read one or two a day to the point where my grandfather, yes, kids, this is something that our parents said to us when we were younger. You're reading too much. You're going to hurt your eyes. Like it he would laugh at me. He's like, seriously, this kid is reading too much. She just set this book down and almost cried because a character died. I'm worried about her. Like he was so worried about me. Like,
I
oh my
always
god.
I always think, remember when we used to be told that we're sitting too close to the TV because it was going to strain our
Mm-hmm.
eyes? And now I look at these
Yep.
kids with these VR things on their head.
Yep. Yep. I mean,
Same idea.
reading the wedding when Wolverine was supposed to get married in Japan and everything just went haywire. And I start yelling, going, no, Silver Samurai! Like, I'm yelling. And my grandfather's like, this girl is reading too many comic books. I'm like, sir, have you read any of these storylines? It's literature. It's so good. So when I was 24, I really wanted to write a comic book, but I didn't know how. And I was living in Hawaii. I was married. I just had my third child, my daughter, Emma. But I didn't know how. But I had this line stuck in my head. And anytime I'd take my kids for a walk, you know, she stomped her foot and up it flew. She stomped her foot and up it flew. It just kind of stuck in my head. So I sat down at my laptop with a cup of hot tea, and 6 months later, this fell out. Um, I again had no idea what I was doing, and this is before any real social media existed. The internet was not what it is today, and I was not in the kind of relationship that I would describe as supportive for these kinds of endeavors. So I was very limited on where I could go or how I could reach out for help. So I just started emailing, and then came the back then you did the envelope stuffing. You had to print out the first three chapters or 51 pages of your book, a synopsis, information, like a little thing about yourself, and a self-addressed stamped envelope. And I sent out maybe 100, 150 of those, like sending those out. And this company called Publish America came back and said, hey, you're getting published. Here's your $1 advance because we believe in you. I was young. And listen, 24 is young. Look at these kids today. 24 is like, they're still
Yeah.
like,
What
yeah.
what is it? Your brain's not fully developed till like 26, 27. So
I look at you as very young, sir. So yeah.
oh,
Sorry.
and I look,
Uh,
me and the missus went out to this restaurant last
mhm.
weekend, and I remember the whole time just looking at her and being like, these kids all should be in school. They're high schoolers. She goes, no,
Yeah.
honey, they're in their 20s. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not a thing.
My oldest children, my three oldest children, did not get their driver's licenses until they were in their early 20s. And I was like, why? Why? Have you heard of the opposite sex? It's a hell of a motivator. Like, seriously, like, I'm trying to like kick them out the door. Like, go do something, live life. Life is short. Go do things, make some mistakes, make some memories, go get a license. Nope. So, especially today, 24 is very young. But me at 24, I had 3 kids. I was in a difficult marriage that I shouldn't have gotten married to this person. We were not for each other, but we'd had a child. So we were like, okay, we should do this thing. Like, if there's ever a an advertisement for contraceptives or waiting, it would be that relationship. But we got some amazing human beings out of it, so no regrets. But I took that offer, and I really strongly feel like that company was a front for a money laundering scheme, because I'm not alone in how I was treated. They didn't give me an editor. Their editor ran spell check for 9 months. And then when I got it back, there were still errors. And I was like, wait a minute, I went through this again and I found errors, and we should change this and change that. And they were like, whatever, do whatever. I designed the cover. I wanted to use, like, I got this wonderful artist. I believe his name is actually Martin Freeman. He let me use his painting, and they're like, no. Like, but I have this email where he says I can, and they're like, no. I wanted to name it One Foot in Darkness. They said, we're going to call it Vampire Slayer One Foot in Darkness. I'm like, I hate that. I'd rather chop off my other leg. Like, I don't want to call it that. They're like, too late. You already signed the contract. This is what we're calling it. Like, son of a. So, I had to do all the work. They sent out one press release to like one very boring press release to a few different newspapers, and that was basically it. I did all the other marketing work, all the legwork. I did a book tour in Texas. Shout out Central Texas. I still love you. Um, I did all of it myself. I sold a couple thousand copies. I was very proud of that. I'm still very proud of it. Um, I wish if I had an editor, if I had Caro Brown back then, this would have been as amazing as Veiled Legacy is. But I didn't. That's okay. That's okay, because I consider this the seed for Veiled Legacy. But this stayed with me for 22 years. After all of that, my ex and I divorced. I became a single mother, eventually with 4 kids, and I was a hairstylist. Hairstylists, despite what you may see on the internet, do not make even as much as teachers in some circles. We don't make a whole lot of money, and I am disabled. As I said, I have one existing leg, the other is prosthetic, and I do have many skeletal issues, and all of it is very, very painful and makes getting around a lot more difficult for me than for able-bodied people. In fact, I expel about 40% more energy to get from point A to point B than for an average person. So everything is much more challenging. But I did it because I love my kids and I love living life. So, what am I going to do? Just lay there and die? No, I'm not going to do that. So they were the priority, putting food on the table, or trying to put food on the table, trying to keep them clothed, doing my best, doing the best I could with the tools that I had. And did I do a great job most of the time? No, no. I wish I could have done better. But like I said, I did the best I could with the tools that I had. It is what it is. But, that's the way it goes sometimes. I have a good relationship with my kids, and that's what matters. They are all happy, healthy, wonderful human beings, and that's what's important now, you know. So after all of that, I, like, about 37 years old, I found that the love of my life was pretty much right there the whole time. And he was the most supportive, encouraging person I've ever met. It was his idea to start my YouTube channel. I'm like, this is dumb. Like, who's going to want to watch me talk about comic book characters and sci-fi while doing my makeup at the same time? He's like, oh, you could talk your ass off, as you've just seen. He's like, you can do it. And I'm like, I'm middle-aged. I'm slightly overweight. Like, look at my competition. My competition is Bailey Sarian. Come on. He's like, just try it. 6 years later, here we are. And he had said, because I always like to quote Virginia Woolf. I've had people ask me, like, when are you going to write again? When are you going to write again? And I would say, well, what Virginia Woolf said was, what a woman needs to write is a quiet room and money. And he's like, well, you're retired from hair. I had a salon. I retired. I pay the bills now. You have a studio, which is an office. What other excuses do you have? So I wrote a script that I adapted from One Foot in Darkness, had an artist. I got real excited because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but he says he's going to help. And he quickly ghosted me for a year. For a year, I was devastated, devastated. And then a friend of mine asked me to come on her stream, Dreaming Tabitha. And she said, hey, we do this thing called Art Party, where basically she tortures me. She comes up with a theme, and then she rolls dice picking random things. And we come up with a very weird character. They draw it, but I'm a special effects artist, and I do it on my face, and I have an hour to pull it off. And it always looks crazy. Like, it's a female wizard with a beard and a peppermint stick or something stupid like that, like an acorn in her hair. And it turns out this particular stream was with 4 other people from Rippaverse Comics.
Okay.
And one of them was Caro Brown, and she and I hit it off immediately. She reached out to me the next day and said, thank you for being so nice. And I was like, yeah, how weird is that? Like, you meet a random woman on the internet and they're nice to you. Like, that doesn't happen. We talked. It turns out we had an eerie amount in common. And I told her, I have so many questions about making comic books. Like, I need to know. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is something I've wanted to do my whole life. And this happened and it went horrible. And she said, send me your script. Let me take a look. She emailed me back, said, we need to meet. We did. And she said, for someone who doesn't know what they're doing, you are off to a hell of a start. I wrote that down, circled it, underlined it, and I'm going to frame it because I almost started crying. I was like, are you kidding me? She's like, you were instinctively doing what you need to do. Like, it's not the format I'm used to. So she taught me her format. 2 rewrites later, it was done. 2 rewrites, it was polished. And to this day, she's like, you are fantastic at gore and action. Like, that is your strong suit, gore and action. And I want you to scream that from the rooftops every chance you get, because I'm a middle-aged woman and people are going to expect me to write like romance and dialogue and blah, blah, blah. And apparently that's my weak spot. But Caro Brown, incredibly talented and successful comic author on her own. And apparently, I've been told by many people, famously difficult to impress. It seems I've impressed her. And she immediately said, I am your editor now. And then handed me off to her artist for her comics, Dirty Deeds, who is, he's incredible. He's going to be a legend. I've already put it out there. He is a legend. He's already a legend. He's now my artist. I pay him. Gave me her artist, and he's now working on Veiled Legacy. But that is the entire story. That is how all of this happened.
So I would like to, because you'll be shocked to learn this, Danny, that I
Mm,
know next to nothing about makeup and all that. But I saw some of your pictures of like all of the makeup effects you do and the special effects stuff, and I was impressed on
thank you.
for multiple reasons. Just because I thought it looked great, but also it's just one of those things where when you can't do something and you're like, wow, that's possible. What, what point did you start getting into that? Like, where did that kind of come along your journey?
Halloween as a child.
Okay.
I always loved Halloween, but I love movies. Listen, I love art. I love movies. Again, I was stuck in a hospital bed and I lived in these worlds to escape. I didn't get to go outside and play as much as other kids did. So my playground was my head. And I wanted to be a part of these worlds, especially Star Trek. Ensign Yeoman Rand had in the original series, I always have to clarify that with people. But in the original series, you had Ensign Yeoman Rand, who had that big beehive with the basket weave on it. I thought that was super cool. Wanted to learn how she did that. Zombie skin, vampires, of course, vampires. I just I'm a perpetual student. I want to learn everything. I want to know how these things are done. So I went to cosmetology school to learn how to do Ensign Rand's hair. And I thought that's where I go to learn how to do special effects makeup. Spoiler warning, that is not where you go to learn how to do special effects makeup, but it is where you learn the basics of makeup. I thought I was going to go to school there and then go do movie makeup. No, no, it is not. That's where you go to raise kids. But YouTube is where you go to meet special effects artists like Emmy and Oscar winning artist Brian Sipe, who worked on the Marvel movies, the Star Wars movies, the Star Wars shows like Mandalorian, Passion of the Christ, The Craft, Hocus Pocus. I met him the first year I was doing YouTube. We are still friends to this day. We tried doing a prosthetic project uh, that failed because apparently it's not sexy enough for people to back. It's okay. Um, we are very good friends. He's actually sculpting a vampire for Veiled Legacy. He's taking his sweet ass time though. Come on, Brian. Like he's like, you're asking a lot here. This is complicated. I said, excuse me, you volunteered, okay? But he is not just my dear friend, but my mentor. He has taught me everything I know about special effects, and he is a taskmaster. Okay, he is an amazing teacher, and I started doing the special effects stuff on YouTube before I interviewed him, and then I would just start asking him questions, and then he kind of took me under his wing. It kind of happened organically. I joke around with people that imagine, and this isn't hard, imagine that the internet is Walmart and I'm just invading people's personal space, rushing up to them, going, "You want to be on my podcast?" And then I get under their skin like a disease and stay there. And like, "Hi, how are you today? I have a question." So that's how that happened.
I tell, I'm sure you get this too, like newer podcasters that want to interview people. Like, how'd you get so and so to be on your show? It's like I emailed them.
Just ask.
Just yeah, just be polite
Yeah.
and be like, hey, I have this podcast. You want to come on? Put it in your own words. And then I always at the end of every email, thank you for your time with my name. And they're like, and I'm like, some people send back like, hey, I'm not available, blah blah blah. I go, but I've never gotten a fuck you, I'm not going on your show or anything like that.
Right.
Just,
Yeah, they'll never be mean about it, never.
yeah.
And that's why I think I get a little offended when people ask me, like, give me so and so's contact info. No, no shortcuts. No shortcuts, please. No, that's not how that works. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, you are going to appreciate it more and you're going to protect that more. You're going to protect your show and you're going to appreciate it more because you've earned that. You've worked for it. That's an important thing, is earning your dues, paying your dues. And let me tell you something, the universe will reward you for that. And you don't know who's watching. You have no idea who's watching. They are watching you. When you're out there on social media, they're watching you hustle. I promise you that. They may not be following you. And when I say they, I'm talking about other bigger YouTubers and journalists and celebrities. They're watching you. They may not be following you, but they're watching you. How do I know? Because I've experienced it myself. When I went to MegaCon, I went to introduce myself to a couple of very big, I'm talking millionaire YouTubers. And before I could stick my hand out to say, hi, I didn't even get the huh out, and they grabbed me and hugged me and said, Dani, it's so nice to finally meet you. Love what you're doing. And I was like, how the fuck do you know who I am? And they're like, I see you. You are so passionate. And that is the best compliment you could possibly get. They are watching you. So don't make shortcuts. Don't take any shortcuts. Don't take the cheap route. Do the work, do the leg work, be kind, and do your research, do your homework. Because trust me, people are watching and they will respect it.
Yeah. And you're gonna love the relationships you make along the way. I've met some close
Absolutely.
friends along the way too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My best friends have come out of this from the hard work. Brian Sipe, like I said, Caro Brown, my editor, Bo DeMaio, Bo DeMaio from X-Men 97. And everyone, oh, you're just name dropping. No, I'm proving a point.
Yeah.
I'm proving a point. I did my work. I did it the right way. He ended up reaching out to me, and here we are over a year later, and we are very close friends. In fact, he's become like a teacher to me, a mentor in my writing, and my comic book writing has improved exponentially because of it. He sends me books. He sent me this book right
That's a
here
great
by
book.
It Is. He sent me several books. He calls it my homework. He said, I'm sending you some homework. And he sent this to me when I had my recent surgery. He's like, okay, I'm sending you homework for while you're recuperating. I want you to stay in bed, damn it. He's like, I know you. But they will not only respect your hustle, they will respect your respect and your kindness. They are human beings and they're working too. So respect their time, respect their hustle, and respect their kindness. They'll show it in return, and you never know who you'll end up with a friend.
Yeah, definitely. And so yeah, you're doing the YouTube thing, doing all that special effects and everything.
Hmm.
Your now husband's the impetus for it all. What was your first thing going into that? Like, what did you want the YouTube to be centered around? Was it just a scattershot of everything, or how focused
Oh,
were you on something?
oh my gosh. It was focused entirely on doing breakdowns while doing my makeup at the same time. It was very much inspired by Bailey Sarian's Murder Mystery Makeup Monday. Sha, 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 sha. That was Dave's idea. He was like, you could do this. I'm like, I don't know anything about cold cases. I just like Bailey. And he's like, no, like with your comic books and stuff. And I'm like, like I said, I'm like, who's gonna watch this? And he was like, I really think you would have something here. I really think, to his credit, I mean, here we are 16 or 16, well, yeah, almost 17,000 subscribers later, 6 years later. Um, I'm still here. I still do the breakdowns, not as often now. And I've gotten complaints. I was like, you guys still really like those? Like, I have a over 90% male audience. I really thought that my audience would be mostly female. I thought there would be more women out there like me, or at least women who, you know, wanted to be able to talk with their boyfriends and husbands about this stuff for. So, or like, hey, I saw that movie. I want to know more about this character because that's me. I'm not, I don't know every character off the top of my head. I didn't sit and read every comic book on the shelf. I couldn't go to the store. I was stuck in a hospital. I could only get the comics that were brought to me. So, if I see something that I'm not knowledgeable about, I will make myself knowledgeable about it. Like I said, I'm a perpetual student. I like learning. I like educating myself. So if I see something about a character that piques my interest, I want to learn about it. So I pass that knowledge on to my subscribers. Um, and I thought, well, there's got to be more women out there like me who, kind of like Bailey Sarian's audience, they're interested in this stuff, and I'll just do my makeup at the same time. No, no. I think the algorithm is very confused by me. Very confused. It took me 6 years to get monetized. I have over 16,000 subscribers, and it took me 6 years to get monetized because it really felt like the algorithm was totally confused. Like, is she doing makeup? Is she doing nerdy pop culture, comic books? What is she here? So I toyed with it a little bit. Like, I did a few kind of editorial pieces, like has Star Trek made us smarter? That is one of my favorites. Another one, that's probably my favorite, is called The Secret Mission of Science Fiction. It's about the 200 plus year history of science fiction, how it's been trying to warn humanity about itself. And another one about the real superpowers of women. Basically, it's about how to actually write female superheroes and how Linda Carter's Wonder Woman accurately portrayed that better than just about anyone on the screen. And it's about that there are differences, and you and I were talking about this before we recorded. There are differences between men and women, and we should celebrate that. We really should. And that's how we should be writing us, not just saying, oh, well, we have too many men in this script. Just make this one man a woman and be done with it. That doesn't work. And the audiences are really reacting to that in a negative way. And I think we're starting to see that in a big way. Um, so I toyed with that for a while. And then I had some comments in a live stream that was like, I really miss the breakdowns. I wish you'd do more of them. I was like, are you serious? It was a guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I miss the breakdowns. Like, with me doing my makeup? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay then. So I'm doing those roughly once a month now because I was live streaming for about a year or so, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for about an hour and a half, talking about all the nerdy pop culture news. And I was really doing that to get my hours up because people really tuned in for live streams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the work for the comic book started taking off. And I'm like, I don't have time. I'm the only person running my channel. How am I going to have time to do the breakdowns, which are pre recorded, fully edited? How am I going to have time for that? The live streams and writing the comic book. How am I going to have time for all that when I'm live streaming 5 days a week? I have a family too. I try to take weekends off. So I take Mondays and Tuesdays off of the live streams and try to save that for, writing or research, what have you. I try to schedule like every moment of my life. Um, hmm,
I know the feeling.
but yeah, so that's how it started, was really just breakdowns. That's all I did, breakdowns. And I did that for a couple of years. I was doing that, a fully researched, recorded, edited breakdown once a week while running a salon at the same time. And then, I have a family at home. Like, why do I hate rest? Why do why do I hate having time to take a bath? Like,
I say my audience could let you know about mine too.
yeah.
I just keep adding stuff to the pile. No, what I find all that really interesting. Like, especially, I never felt like I never got into the video essays as much, but I know people love those. And when you say you have a mostly male audience, it honestly at this point doesn't shock me because I feel like whenever I talk to somebody and like this is the audience I'm going for, they get the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like it's just It's I can't put a pin on what people like anymore and who's going to be
I
whose audience.
Me either. You know, YouTube Studio has that thing where it's like inspiration. I'm like, I'm not even using that. You're a
Hmm.
liar. You're a dirty, dirty liar. I get really excited. I have more women now, and I get really excited when a new woman pops up in my live chat. I'm like, Lee, hello. Would you like a fish sandwich or some kibasi? Like, hello. I get very, very stoked about that. Like, please, I could use some more women on my channel, please.
I would love to know too. You mentioned one of your essays was how to write women. Give me an example, and I'd love to know if we have the same one. Give me an example of like a recent one, a poorly written woman that maybe is just a male character that they said, "Hey, we need some diversity."
Captain Marvel.
Okay,
They biffed that one. Is it the same?
it's the same one. Yep.
Okay, yeah, Captain Marvel. They biffed that, and I feel like Brie Larson was doing her job. Like at the time, we were all very angry with her, but I feel like she was given talking points by the PR firm and the studio. Like, say these things, be insufferable. like it just they just made her that. And I feel like they completely ignored the fact that there are physical attributes of women that you could definitely have leaned on for a female superhero. We're more flexible. We have more cartilage. We're more flexible. We're lighter. That makes us faster. So there's your physical attributes. We're smaller, we're shorter. So use Aikido, use Taekwondo. Those are very, that's why my character uses Taekwondo and Aikido. I studied Aikido a million years ago and I barely remember, but I did. But those are very female centric, good for female martial arts because they are all about, low center of gravity and using the opponent's momentum against them. So using speed and momentum and, bringing them down to your level kind of situation. Using that kind of movement rather than power and strength because we just don't have the muscle tone that men do. We don't have the bone density that men do. And that's just science right there. And we shouldn't go against it because that breaks your verisimilitude. Women have more connections between our left and right hemispheres in our brain, so we're able to multitask better. And that goes back to caveman days. This
Hmm.
this is all in that video. Like I did a lot of research on this, and I've done
Yeah.
this for years. But men were the hunter gatherers. We were the ones staying home in the cave, protecting our offspring and making sure as many as possible survived and didn't get killed off by saber-toothed tigers. So we had to mind the offspring while listening for predators at the same time, multitasking. We had that going on. We have more empathy. We have more compassion. There's all of that going on. Our skin is softer. We have more collagen and elastin. That's why in the Incredibles, mom is Elastigirl. She has more elastin. Okay, there's all these things about women that would make it easy to write an incredible female superhero, but they get ignored. They ignore all these very physical and mental, emotional aspects, and they just write it like we're exactly the same as men. I'm not saying that we're better or worse. That is the important takeaway. We are just as good as one another. Just as good. We pick up where the other one leaves off. We need each other. That is
Yeah.
important. We need one another. Each are equally as good. We are beneficial to one another, but we're not exactly the same. That is important.
Yeah, we're the yin to your yang, and vice versa. I've been saying ever since. Did you watch the most recent Stranger Things season, or were you a
Yep.
Stranger Things person?
I was, and my daughter and I, that was our thing.
Uh,
um her whole life, because it's been on practically her whole life.
yeah.
It was with her late father also. So this one was very special because he passed away. There wasn't a season on until, since he passed. So we got really excited, and then we watched the whole season. We're like, what the fuck was that?
So yeah, I'm with you. But that aside, there's that moment in there's episode 2 or 3 when when the Demogorgons come to take one of the daughter, and the mother is trying to protect her daughter from the Demogorgons, and I was like, and I remember thinking at that moment, I'm like, somebody in there knew how to draw or how to write a
Yeah.
woman in the real world. Like that's a mom. She's very feminine. She's very like, and obviously we're in the '80s, so there's some issues about all of that. But she's that character. But in that moment, when you go and you try to do something, one of her kids,
Don't fuck
knives
with
are
my
out.
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
knives are out.
don't. And my husband had a little bit. He's like, oh, come on, now here we go. I'm like, listen, no. If there is a situation where a monster or something is coming for my babies, I am definitely breaking a wine bottle or grabbing something, or just like I'm going for that monster. Now they could have filmed it a little better.
Yeah.
It like the Demigorgon kind of stops and like lets her stab it, kind of situation. But I do, like, I was trying to explain to him. I apologize. I was trying to explain to him that you can't show how quickly a thought process is on screen, so you have to demonstrate it with frames. So I do understand that, but I feel like we should have, like, they had like a swipe, like
Yeah. That was
but yeah,
just
that was
that
a
was just
mama
badass
bear.
woman, moment right there. That I felt
Yeah,
like I sent that to a few friends. I'm like, this is how I want my women
yeah.
written and
And
on in
then
media. Like,
Karen did the laundry. And then Karen did the laundry. That I
hmm
liked that too. I know there's a lot of people who didn't care for it. It was like, oh, you're telling me that these Demogorgons were so tough, and then the mom gets like, listen, have you heard the stories about moms lifting buses? That is real. That is an adrenaline rush that parents get, especially mothers. Those children are body parts. You don't understand. They are our body parts. We grow them from scratch inside of us, and
hmm
then we risk our lives pushing them out. I died twice having my children. You bet your ass I am going to attack a beast, and I will die killing it. I
hmm
promise you. I'm
Yeah.
taking it with me to hell. I'm taking it with me wherever I go.
So we've kind of danced around a little bit. We got to talk a little bit. You do have a comic currently
Yes, I
on
do.
Kickstarter and Fund My
And fund my
Comic,
comic.
which I'm not super familiar with, so I'd love to hear more about that. But that is Veiled Legacy.
Yes.
Um, what's kind of the quick pitch for people out there what this book is all about?
Oh, it's so hard to give a quick pitch, but basically, book one, Midwest Gothic, is a rural Midwestern family's act of kindness leads to an unnatural home invasion, leaving Emma Hogan to survive the night alone while her twin brother, Jimmy Hogan, races against the clock to save what's left of his family from forces unknown before they're lost forever. So I want you to think Amish vampires attacking a family home. And there's so much more to it. Like that's just it's so non-stop. Everything in this book, and I was very, very careful with this book. I'm one of those people that I love Easter eggs. I do, but it's not just Easter eggs. I love foreshadowing very much. So I have to be very careful what I say about this book in interviews. And if you watch or listen to all of my interviews, I do spoil things on accident. And sometimes I just get tired. I'm like, oh, fuck it. Here we go. Uh, but I have so much foreshadowing for the future issues and for what's really going on. You have to pay attention to everything in this book. Every little thing is meaningful in this book. Everything. So there's definitely far more going on than just a slasher horror flick.
Hmm.
Seriously. And this is just my opening salvo. And I gotta say, it is a hell of a punch in the face. It does. It comes out. I kick the door wide open. It's going to break your nose once that door hits you. It's constant action. It's constant suspense. Um, this whole night is just the tip of a much bigger iceberg. This is all centered around Greek myths, James Bond gadgetry, and magic. There is a world of magic, there's a secret society, and there are family secrets that have been hidden from the Hogan twins their entire lives, since before they were even born. And so they discover after this what really happened that night, what's really going on. And that kicks off with page 1 of book 2. But first you got to get through book 1. And book 1 is a ride, man. It really is a ride, and I could not be prouder of what we've created, and I can't wait for people to see it.
So it definitely sounds like you're creating a bigger world with many titles for the future. But obviously, we gotta get through book one to be able to get
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Um, you open up your story here with a vampire hunter with a weaponized leg. So tell me, Danny, what's the importance of somebody with a prosthetic leg in your story?
Well, I have a prosthetic leg. I have a prosthetic leg, and I don't want to get all because I'm not one of the and I hate buzzwords. I just want to I do not like buzzwords. I think they're overused and they're used for the wrong reasons, but for lack of a better phrase, I'm not a wokey or anything like that at all. But I am an amputee. I've been an amputee since 1994. But as someone who has lived this life their entire life, I've seen so many amputees in media, and they are one dimensional characters. They're constantly in shorts 24/7, 365, no matter if there's snow on the ground or not. So we don't forget that the only thing about them is that they're amputees. Oh, look how nice we are. We gave this amputee a job. That's all they are. They're amputees. We don't need to know anything else about them. And there's a lot of certain misnomers about what our lives are like. I didn't set about creating this comic to specifically teach people. So I want to say that straight out the gate. That's not why I made the character like this. I originally wrote the book as a form of therapy, dealing with myself, because the person I wanted to be and the person I am, the person I became, are not the same. And it's a form of grief, and that is a very real thing. When someone goes through an amputation, uh, they do go through the grieving process because the person that you were is gone. The person you were
Hmm.
going to be is gone. You've lost that person. But for us, we have to look at that person in the mirror every single day. It's not like losing a person and they're gone and you don't have to see and talk and feel them anymore. That person is still physically there,
Hmm.
but not at the same time. It's a very strange and unique, complex type of grieving process, and it's a lot more difficult to get through. So, it was suggested to me that I write about it, and so I wrote about it in total metaphor. And I love vampires, I love superheroes, so I'm like, dude, wouldn't it be cool if she had like this leg that she stomped it, a hatch opened up and a stake launched up where she had like spikes that came out of the front and a tow knife and a flame launcher and all this stuff. She could make it out of Kevlar. And I looked up the science on it and everything and talked to some engineers. My late brother was an engineer, and really delved into it. So basically, I wrote it because I thought it was really cool. First of
Hmm.
all, I wrote something that I would like. And I think that's what all writers should do. Be honest, write something you would like. And I wrote something to help me deal with my own shit. And then when I got older and got the opportunity to really start working on the comic, I was like, this could be a really neat opportunity also to kind of demonstrate the actual world of amputees. So certain aspects or a lot of aspects of my life as an amputee are in the book or will be in the future books. Like there's something I have to deal with, a neurological condition called phantom pains. They are in the book. They will be illustrated how they are actually felt. Many amputees deal with this, and I mean millions. And we're going to weaponize them. We're going to actually use them as a superpower in a sense. Her brother Jimmy and she share an empathic twin connection, and he's going to feel them too. In fact, that is a part of book one. And in the concept art of her character card on the far left, you see her leg and it says phantom pains, and it shows one of the types because there's several different types of phantom pains.
Hmm.
Um, it shows one of the types of phantom pains that we're going to be weaponizing. So we're going to show that. We're going to show the reality of what amputees and amputee life really is in this comic book. Because from what I'm in other amputees have seen in media, like that is not reality. We're actual, fully three-dimensional people. That is not all of who we are. And it's not fun and games. It is a painful, complicated thing. Insurance does consider prosthetics a luxury and not necessary for living. And it makes it very difficult for us to get limbs. They'll tell us just use a wheelchair, which is also not, necessary for living. It's just a luxury. It's very difficult. So that's just it's. Listen, I feel like telling people this might turn them off. So I need to be very clear that it's not a main aspect of the story. The main aspect is the story, and it has an
Yeah.
amazing, amazing story. This is just a piece of her character, a very multi-dimensional character.
I've been kind of a champion of it's. I don't have a problem with any of the diversity stuff, all that. Like that's all well and good. Like I see that in my life every day, so I'm fine with that being in my media. But your story changes with it. Like you can't just say character X is now black. That changes the character entirely. What he went
Hmm.
through, what he dealt with, or what she
Hmm.
dealt with. How that person was raised, all these things. And you having this experience, putting it into the book, you can, while not making it and this is what I deal with, and this is what like a list of things that are wrong or that suck about being an amputee or the positives about it or whatever. But you can put it in the book and still educate people and make it a part of the story and make it a part of the journey. And that's what's important. I think what people are really pushing against is bad writing and bad
Yeah.
storytelling more than
And
anything. And we're just calling
yeah.
it politics, but it's really just people who don't know how to write these characters and don't want to take the time to actually go in depth and realize that when you change a person's characteristics, you change the character.
And
And
that's what's
so I love to hear
important
what
to
you just
me.
said.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. That's really important to me that as long as it's part of the story, as long as it's organic, I'm not going to shoehorn anything. I'm not going to stuff something in there just because of some ideology or agenda or what have you. It has to be part of the story. It has to be organic or it doesn't go in there. That's that's my rule.
Yeah. And I think it should be pretty much everybody's rule. Like, you can tell a story with a moral and you can tell a story with something about the world that you want to see, or your politics into it, but it's got to service the story, not the other way around. And that's what gets lost a lot. And just people who don't understand story and don't know how to talk story online just call it these buzzwords, and then it gets into an argument, and then it's
That's why I hate the buzzwords,
but,
because
yeah.
I have met Nerdrotic in person. He's a wonderful, warm person. It I like him, but a lot of his followers, and I'm not talking about the people I know. I'm talking about the faceless randoms. A lot of those people just parrot what he says, and they don't know the meaning behind it. They don't know the purpose behind it. They just parrot it to parrot it because they think just the word, just saying it, gives them attention, gives them clicks or impressions. They're just saying it without any weight behind it or any purpose behind it or knowledge or wisdom behind it. And that's why I hate those words.
Yeah.
That's because I'm like, stop parroting.
We're a very tribal people. I mean,
Yes.
just do a binge on cults, and you'll see like how crazy people we are.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with cults.
That's me too.
I have a
So
cult in my books.
we get to see some of the art on your Kickstarter page. How much of the book is already drawn and ready to go, or how far
I
along the
know.
process are you?
We've only been working on this for about 4 months. Because again, I was lost. I didn't know where to get started, how to do anything. I didn't know anyone until roughly 6 months ago. And I didn't have any money. I am a YouTuber, and like I said, I just got monetized not that long ago. I'm not making a whole lot of money. I'm on disability. There, I said it. I'm on disability. I don't have a lot of money. So all the funding I am getting right now is coming from Fund My Comic. Kickstarter doesn't give you anything until you reach your goal, which is difficult because they tell you, we want you to have 70% of your comic done before you start this. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to get any of it done if I don't have any money? This is a kind of a catch-22, man. But Fund My Comic is great because it gives you money as you go. So that's been a great way that I've been able to pay my artists. So right now, I have Evan is working on 3 pages. We have 1 page done. He's working on our first splash page, which is amazing. It is gorgeous. It is brutal. It is everything. It looks like he pulled it right out of my head. He is so talented. My mind is completely blown. And he's so humble. Let me tell you something. I was like, dude, you have impressed my Oscar winning artist friend. He's like, I mean, it's your description. I'm like, will you shut your beautiful mouth? You stop being so humble. It's amazing. I'm waiting for the full color version of that, and then he's going to start work on page 19. So we'll have those 3 pages, and then we've got another 3 pages. So I'm giving him basically 3 pages at a time. So we'll have 6 pages. We're on 6 pages right now. And then I'm going to have him work on lettering for that. He's my letterer as well. He's like, "Are you sure you want me?" Yes. You're amazing. I want you. Um, I know it's not a lot. I know it's not a lot, but it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. I don't have a cover yet. I have 1 full completed page, but he is working on it. And I promise you guys, all the money that comes in goes to a specific account that is only for the comic, and it goes directly to my artist. You can ask him. He gets paid. And I talk to him all the time. And I feel bad like going on to the campaigns like I don't have it yet, but he's working on it. Like it's there. And I know it's hard to back campaigns that don't have a whole lot of art right now, but he is working on it. I get the emails. It's there. If you want to see the behind the scenes, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/comics, and that's where all the behind the scenes stuff is. That's where all the line work is, all the actual rough sketch stuff is. you can see exactly what he's working on right now. But the finished product goes straight to the campaign as soon as it's done. That's why that one page is circling the internet right now,
Hmm.
because it's done. It's done. Um, but yeah, we've got 3 pages he's working on. One is complete, and then we've got another 3 ready to go as soon as he's done.
Have you thought about like updating the campaign pages to add that to the page so people when they click on it they can see
I'm
kind of
going
what
to
he's
do
working
that.
on?
Well, I've added the page that he completed. I've added that to the updates. Um, Not the behind the scenes, because that's what the Patreon pays for, and I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to take that away from them. But I update on Sundays, but because Sunday is Easter, I was gonna go do it today and tell them like, hey guys, we've got new pages getting ready to hit, and then he's got 3 more he's working on. Thank you for your continued support, all that stuff. But I post every day on all the socials. All my links are on the website, comics-and.com, but I do post daily, and sometimes that page gets thrown in with that. I am working on new reels for that. Again, it's just me.
Hmm.
I'm just one person running my channel, running my comic, and that's across like 10 different platforms. And I'm old. so I get overwhelmed, and I've been told I need to take a day off and play video games. I'm trying. I'm
I know the
trying.
feeling. I think even having the one page on the main like with your story kind of sliced in there,
hmm
it will do wonders for people to like kind of get a
The
better idea of
the
what the book
problem
is.
with the problem with Fund My Comic is if I update the whole campaign, the whole page gets taken down until they approve it.
Oh.
And I don't know how long it will take for them to approve it, because it's one guy running that whole site.
Yeah,
So
what about Fund My Comic interested you other than the I'm guessing the direct payment as soon as people backed it?
someone suggested to me, I thought it was Caro. She says, no, I didn't. So now I can't remember who suggested it to me. I thought it was Caro. But someone suggested it to me. I said, okay. So that was the first one I went with. And they immediately put me up on bleedingfool.com. I got featured in an article. I got on, what was the Comic Crusaders podcast. They put me on their page. They were really nice. They featured me on their main page right away. They were really, really helpful. And being able to get that money as it comes in so I can put it towards my actual comic book has been such an amazing bonus, such a help. I wouldn't be able to do it without this, without that. I'm seriously, when I realized, like, I thought I was going to be able to get some Kickstarter money after 3 weeks, and then I went back and read it again with the good glasses, and it said, no, not until you get, your, if you don't reach your goal, you don't get any money. And I
Hmm.
was like, well, that's not helping me right now. Like, what am I supposed to do? So, but I do have some money, because I put my YouTube money and my Patreon money and everything towards the comic book also. Now, the YouTube money is not a lot at all, but it all goes towards the comic book. And I do take a chunk out of my disability every month and put it towards the comic book too. So I do have my personal money. I did. I had put my entire state tax refund towards it, but then I had to go to MegaCon and help my grandparents for a few days in Florida. And so I had to spend that tax refund money on the plane ticket, which really irked me. But I went and I handed out, I think I left it in my purse though. I handed out postcards for the comic book at MegaCon for 2 days before I went and helped my grandparents. So I'm always on. I'm always
Hmm.
promoting. I'm happy to do more and more podcasts. Like, that's what I've been doing all week.
Yeah.
I think I've done 7 this week. I don't know. My brain is
MegaCon's
fried.
a fun show.
It
I
was
went
that
to
was
it.
my first Comic Con.
Really?
Yeah, I'd never been to one before. I just raise kids. That's what I've done for
That's
26
okay.
years.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay.
So,
That's a good first one. I really like that show. I've been to it once, but I had so much fun with that show. Like it's
well,
just
I gotta thank the Ripaverse people because I was allowed to work at their booth the entire time. I did try to earn my badge and earn my keep. Like I literally worked their booth and
mhm.
tried to help out, but they let me put my cards there. And because I do hope to print the comic through Ripasend and distribute through Ripasend, but they let me work there, hand out my cards, talk to people, rest there, eat what was considered food at MegaCon there. But they were really absolutely beyond wonderful to me. I highly recommend the Ripaverse people to anyone. Read a Ripaverse comic today. They're incredible people, and their comics are very good. So, yeah, MegaCon was a wonderful experience.
So what is Rip Ascend?
Ripasend is the distribution arm of Ripaverse. So Ripaverse is the interconnected universe, and then Ripasend is where you can print your comic through Ripaverse. They'll print it, they'll distribute it, and they'll market it for you for a percentage, of course. But it's not connected to their interconnected universe, and you keep all of the rights to your characters and story.
Okay. That's
So
that's a pretty cool deal. I like that. Uh with that, so I know a lot of the Ripa stuff is like more kind of OGNs. How many pages are you doing for this issue or this book?
for the first book is 42 pages.
Okay.
42 pages of constant hit you in the face.
Okay. So people out there who do end up backing it, you're getting a meaty book
Hmm.
for a pretty good price on there, and you also have a pretty good. I saw a digital, yeah, digital for the first copy, $10 for 42 pages. Like, doesn't get much better than that, right?
No, no.
Uh, any like other goodies that you're doing, or are you just kind of focusing on the book for the first campaign? Like, what
We're
can people expect when they
focusing
get the book?
we're focusing on the book for the first campaign. You can get your name in the back. All backers are getting their name in the back of the book. And you can get that for just $1.
Mhm.
Okay, just $1. For $25, you're going to get a digital copy, a physical copy, and your name in the back. And for $50, you're going to get all of those things plus a custom autograph copy of the book. Now on Kickstarter, I'm working on, because we don't even have a main cover yet, but I'm working on getting a special edition cover of the book also. And that's all of those things plus that custom autographed copy of a
Very
special
cool.
edition cover.
Not saying who the special cover is going to be by yet.
Nope, working on it.
So people, yeah, people can get all of that. Anything else about the campaign you really want people to know before we jump away?
It means more to me than anything. It's like my fifth child. My kids have grown up with this story. They know it better than Spider-Man, to be honest. I've named these characters are named after my kids. Emma Hogan is named after my daughter Emma. Jimmy is named after my child Ashton James. One of the characters, Martin Kessler, is named after my son Kessler. My daughter Emma, or my daughter Amelia, my daughter Amelia has developed one of the detectives in the book, Nicole Perry, Detective Nicole Perry. She developed that character. She's a forensic detective, she's a serologist. She studies the fluids of the body. And she came up with all of that herself. And she even said, Mom, if you have to kill me off for the story, I understand. Like, come on. But this is a family project. This is something that's been a part of my family for 22 years. I've waited 22 years to do this. I Listen, I will not rest. I will not leave this earth until I get this comic made. So I need be a part of it. Be a part of this.
And that would be a great place to end, but I forgot to ask you the most important question.
What's that?
What kind of vampires are you doing? What's your what's the vampire you like? Are more the
Gnarly.
romantic gothic vampire, more
Oh, for heaven's sake.
the almost like uh feral animal instinct vampire? What kind of vampires are in this?
Oh, oh, oh. Okay, so book one, we have feral animal. Have you ever seen the Vampire Hunter D?
Yes.
Okay, so they start off as looking nice human Amish gentlemen, but right when they go to feed, their skin tears away like the werewolves in Vampire Hunter D. It just kind of like tears away. And what we're left with is this distorted, mutated, gnarly, jagged tooth, long claw, just disgusting, monstrous visage. Because I wanted them to physically represent how twisted and evil they truly are on the inside. That's important to me. I want monstrous vampires. Vampires aren't good. They're not misunderstood. They don't sparkle. They're monsters. And that's what I want my vampires to be, monsters. So that's what you're getting, monsters.
Awesome. So for people out there watching, listening, you said you're on all the socials. Where can people, do you have one social media handle for everything, or where can people find you?
Comics and, if you type in Comics and, you can find me. All my links are at my website, comics-and.com. I'm mostly on Twitter. I do my best. I post a lot on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, um, occasionally Blue Sky, but it's pretty much dead. Um, YouTube, I'm on YouTube every day, Wednesday through Friday. I am streaming, but Twitter, I'm posting there all the time. It's at comics and underscore. But if you want all my links, go to the website comics-and.com.
And everybody out there, you should know by now to check the show notes down below, because I'll have links to the important stuff, which is the Kickstarter and the Fund My Comic, but also to Dani's website, to the YouTube channel, and I'll have all that written out for the social media as well for you down there. So I try to make it simple on y'all. Hopefully, I'll use it. Dani, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you and getting to know
Thank you.
you. We'll definitely have to do it in the future, and I just wish you the best of luck with the campaign.
Thank you so much. This has been an honor.